is going to be given 3 minutes, and at 3 minutes, I will be standing up, the band will start playing, and they will have a 30-second leeway to finish up. If they go up to 4 minutes, I'm going to pull out my water pistol and start squirting. And with that, I'm just going to go ahead and introduce our first speaker, which is Leanne Jacobson, with John Passion on deck. It's all yours, Leanne.
Hello, everybody. I'm Leanne Jacobson, and I am running for Congress against Steve King. There are those who say it's an uphill battle to beat a 15-year incumbent. But I believe it is the perfect time to run against a candidate who, along with so many others in our country, works so hard to divide us. Instead of coming together to work for all of us, our congressmen and others seek to divide us. Women from men, black from brown from white, football players from fans, us from the others. They do so because they believe cynically that if we are divided, we will be too distracted from the true challenges that we face. But we will not, we must not be divided. Instead, we will work together for a brighter future. We will work together to create solutions. We will work together to restore America's middle class, a strong middle class. We will rebuild an economy where all of our communities, rural and urban, thrive. An economy that ensures prosperity for all working Americans and not just the wealthy. When we work together, we can ensure our children and our grandchildren have access to the high-quality public education and skills training they need. And so that means that the next generation and the next will have vital, interesting roles to play in tomorrow's workforce. When we work together, we can ensure all of us, everyone, 100% of Americans, regardless of where they live, have access to affordable quality health care. As an advisory board member to Spencer Hospital, I have seen what happens firsthand when there are cracks in the system. And I know how critically and important it is to engage healthcare professionals in any conversation about wholesale change to our healthcare in our country. When we work together, we will raise the voices of the 97% of scientists who agree that climate change is caused by human activities. And united with the rest of the world, we will work to create solutions that bring real progress to climate change. Indeed, when we come together and put people and common sense over politics and cynicism, we can do anything. Throughout my career as a successful business leader, I have found both the greatest achievement and the greatest happiness comes when bringing people together around common purpose. And that is why I'm running for the 4th District, to represent all of you. I am running to bring people together. Bringing people together is what great leaders do. Our current congressman is not a leader, he is a divider. And as he works to divide us, he misrepresents us and underrepresents us and embarrasses us. And before I leave, I'll leave you with one additional point. This is the perfect time to be a Democrat. As Democrats, we represent ideals and ideas and diversity and education and economic vitality and hope. It is our party that represents the future, and I am so proud to be part of the future of Iowa's 4th District. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Leanne Jacobson, everyone. Next up, we have Dr. John Passion, and on deck we have Mr. Paul Dahl. John?
Care Act, the most comprehensive healthcare reform act ever put into law, currently being attacked by Republicans and policymakers who are more concerned about their own, how they look, instead of getting us good quality health care. The Affordable Care Act, I'm a big fan of it. It did a lot of good things. It's not perfect though. It's a first step to comprehensive health care reform, which is what we need. It needs to be renewed, it needs to be replenished, but it should not be repealed. Virtually all the Republican replacements for the Affordable Care Act have decimated Medicaid. And Medicaid is the health insurance for the sickest, the youngest, and the poorest of us. And we have to remember, when they go after Medicaid, they're not just stopping children from coming into my office to get amoxicillin for their ear infection. It can be a matter of life and death for many of our Iowans. We need a fair and compassionate immigration policy. Has to be on the agenda. We have to stop the vilification of immigrants. I want to bring good jobs to Iowa and the 4th District. We need to raise the minimum wage, that's a start, but I also want to encourage jobs that come into the 4th District that pay at least a median wage of $58,000 a year. This gap between the wealthiest Americans and the middle class must be shrunk. We need to make sure we support and fund good quality daycare and good preschools, so our parents can work if they need to, but also to make sure that our children have a head start in the education process. We need to make sure that education is affordable, so we can start to train the men and women for the jobs of the future. In my role as a medical volunteer throughout the world, I've come to the conclusion that we're all alike. We all want our loved ones to have access to medical care when they need it. We all want to live in security and sleep without fear. We all want our children to do better than we've done. I promise you that if you send me to Washington, those hopes and dreams will drive everything I do. I will not work to divide us, but unite us. I will work for us, not against us. My name is John Passion, and I'm running against Steve King for the 4th Congressional District.
Thank you very much, John. Our next speaker is Mr. Paul Dahl with J.D. Colton on deck.
It is good to see all of you as Democrats here today. And I am Paul Dahl, and I'm running for the 4th District U.S. House seat. And of course, we want to retire Steve King finally. Now, for the 4 of us running, you're going to find out on the issues, we are all going to be quite similar. But now, I just want to point out some things that I'm different than the other candidates, so that you have some sense of why I think I am the one that can defeat Steve King. The first thing is, I think my faith journey is important and will help in my run for this office. And I think we cannot let the Republicans have God in this contest, because if we do, we give away some potential voters. So since I have a Master Divinity degree and I have been a pastor, I will contest in churches against Steve King. And of course, I'm going to base it upon the passage from Matthew, that we're supposed to love God and your neighbor as yourself. And of course, my focus is going to be on loving your neighbor as yourself, which Steve King does not do. the second thing is that I'm going to be the most hard-working candidate. And I know JD and I are kind of contesting that right now. But I will give you an example why I'm the most hard-working candidate. Every Friday night, I try to hit 3 football games campaigning. And I'm only sleeping 5 hours. So when I'm not working, I'm either out campaigning or I'm doing research so that I can be more knowledgeable about the issues. So you're going to need somebody who's relentless in order to beat Steve King. And I think I'm the person. And I will let you know, the third thing is, I think, my knowledge level. I've spent 37 years in preparation for this. Now, this is my second run for Congress. The first time I ran was back in 1993-94, and I was a pastor at the time in Humboldt County. So, compared to the other candidates, I'm not going to make the same rookie mistakes, and I think that's important. You want somebody who has their A game from the get-go. And when I'm out and about campaigning, I make it a point to talk to anybody who wants to talk. So nobody's going to outwork me, and of course, I'm going to continue reading and developing my knowledge base as well. Now, I'm going to tell you, a doll in the house is better than a king at court. And of course, I have another one, since I grew up in Blackhawk County originally. I was born in Waterloo. King will meet his Waterloo. And the last thing, and I think this is the most important one of the campaign sayings, deeds, not creeds, work for human need, not greed. One final thing I'm going to say, it's going to not only take my hard work, but I need all of you involved. And I want to serve Iowa with integrity, industry, and innovation.
Call roll, everyone. Next up, we have Mr. J.D. Schulten.
All right. I'll work with it. My name is J.D. Schulten, and if this is the first time you're seeing me, you understand why our campaign motto is standing tall for all. So, recently I had coffee with a Native American activist who's a friend of mine, and he said, JD, if you want to do this, you have to get uncomfortable. If you want change, you have to be uncomfortable. And then you have to make other people uncomfortable. So my goal tonight is to make you all uncomfortable.
Okay, can you...
So, like many first-time candidates, I'm running because of what happened in November. But like most, it was the election, but it's also the 8 days that I got to spend with my inspiration, my Grandma Fern, at her retirement home. On the first day, Grandma said to me, JD, you should work at this home and take care of me. I said, Grandma, I love that idea, but I don't think they're going to hire me. And she goes, you're probably right. But on the last day, she said something that really stuck with me. She said, JD, you need to move home and take care of our farm. We have a family farm just outside of Lake Mills. But I just so you know, I was raised in Sioux City, so it's my mom's side. But that ended up being our last conversation. And so, how do I take care of the farm? By ensuring that every farm, every farmer, every city professional, every nurse, student, child, mother, and father in this district has somebody in Washington putting them first. I'm running for Congress to fight for the Iowa my grandmother gave me, and to build an even greater Iowa for those who come after. Now I want to talk about a couple issues. First, I want to talk about healthcare. I want to ensure that healthcare is not a barrier to living a free, productive, or successful life for every Iowan. And for me, we need to put in a public option to stabilize the markets right now. And then we push for Medicare for all. My second priority is economic opportunity. And America has not had an answer to globalization for the working class and the middle class. We have the opportunity in this district to build what I like to call the new rural economy that takes our traditional agriculture industries that add advanced manufacturing, and we bring on technology jobs that are going to piggyback off the fact that we lead the nation in wind energy. And lastly, I'll leave you with this. Youthful stubbornness, an athlete's energy, and a passion for helping others is a dangerous combination. You know what? Tell me this race is unwinnable. Tell me Steve King is unbeatable, and that only adds fuel to my fire. And I will tell you that I felt the energy and the buzz in this district and in this room here today. And together we can make the seemingly impossible happen. And I'll say this, I'm uncomfortable. And if you get uncomfortable, and we stay uncomfortable until November 6, 2018, till that last ballot is counted, we can make this change. My campaign is starting a movement to make that change. So join us. Follow us at SchultenForIowa.com, and together we can truly build an Iowa that stands tall for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, JD. How about a big round of applause for all 4 candidates for U.S. Congress? I've been about Steve King, I'd be shaking in my boots. Wow, we got some great candidates for U.S. Congress. I am so proud to know and work with all 4 of them.